So I'm Lorraine Allaway, live in Long Preston near Skipton, North Yorkshire. On the day, me and my family had met to go in to settle for breakfast due to the fact that my sister was dying of cancer, and obviously we all wanted to be back home around about lunchtime so that we could spend as much time as possible with my sister. We had our breakfast, and about 12 o'clock we decided it was time to head back into the village and spend this last time obviously with my sister. Bob had set off work early. He was about 15 minutes earlier than usual, so that he could come and join us. He'd popped into the house and dropped off his bag, and then got onto the bike and came towards Settle to meet up with us before we were heading in. At that point, obviously, he was hit by Mr. Crook, and killed pretty much instantly. My nephew came to tell me that there was a motorbike down, the road was closed, how do we get back to Long Preston? So when he told me this, I automatically thought of Bob, started dialing his number, leaving messages, sent a text message saying how worried I was that it was him. And by this time, while I'm doing all this, my nephews set off back down to the roundabout and met up with the police, and they had confirmed that it was actually Bob that was involved in this accident. Because I just couldn't understand why he wouldn't let me go and see my husband. At that point, he then said to me, I'm sorry, Mrs. Allaway, but I'm afraid your husband's gone already. At that point, my world just fell apart. It really did fall apart. We arrived back in Long Preston, obviously in time for my sister before she passed away. I walked in and I said to my sister Ellie, I'm sorry, I'm going now. I will be back later, but Bob will be for you soon. When he comes, just go with him, you'll be okay. When I finally got down to the hospital at the morgue, they had him laid out, and when I looked at him, his nose was broken, his eyes were cut, but significantly to me was right in the centre of his forehead. It was a big dint. I could sit my finger in it. Where did that come from? And he had his full face helmet on. On the day of Bob's accident, I walked down to that roundabout, down to the site. Obviously, they wouldn't let me get any closer, but I saw Bob's bike, and the state of his bike frightened me. It really did. I mean, the front wheels were disintegrated. The central hub of the wheel had come apart from the main part of it. There was just so much debris all over. In fact, there's some days I can still go down there and pick up little bits of yellow motorbike. And it just goes to show how much of an impact was on those two vehicles. I saw a video that had been released of the accident scene. Fortunately, it faded away from my husband on the road being worked on. But when you looked at the car, there was a big hole in the windscreen. And I'm there and I'm thinking, he must have hit him with so much force. How fast was he going? I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I didn't find out until quite some time afterwards that the driver was drunk. I knew that he'd been breath tested and that he had been taken away to Harrogate, but I didn't realise that he was actually drunk at the time. Well, since that day, we have pretty much gone through a year of firsts. The first birthday without him, his first birthday, Christmas, the first Christmas without him, the first wedding anniversary without him, and obviously this year on the 3rd of October, it was the end of the first year altogether. But now we're on year 2 and we start the whole process again. You know, it's the second Christmas, and this will go on now for the rest of my life. Basically, every year it'll just increase that he's not here to share all these things. Christmas Day with the grandchildren, you know, opening up the presents. He would do everything in the house because of my spine disorder. He would take me places so that we could go on and do the photography that we both had fun doing. And it's just lots of different things that we're never ever going to be able to do now because he's no longer with us. He would do anything for anybody. Any mention of charity work, he was up for it. And it was always in a mankini, always, guaranteed. Bike washes in the freezing cold, you know, go and do bike wash for Derrion House. And he just lived life to the fullest, always made people laugh. Every day it's the same. I get and I can see the building coming up and I'm there and I'm prepping myself and it's bye love, see you later, I'm off to work, or on the way home, love you, I'll see you tomorrow, you know. And that's what I do every single time I go past the scene, and I do that every day. If you're drinking, no matter what, you have choices. You can leave your keys behind the bar, phone a taxi, phone a friend, not drink at all. That's your choice at the end of the day. But then when you're getting into your car, consider what's going to happen to you, yourself. You could be stopped by the police, breathalyzed. You are then going to go to jail for a period of time because you are drunk driving. You will then possibly end up in a hearse by killing yourself, by driving like a total lunatic whilst you're drunk, and then killing somebody and ending up again in jail because you've killed somebody. Take your choice. Consider your family, because that is the last thing they want to hear is the knock at the door and a policeman standing there and saying, I'm awfully sorry, but your husband, your wife, your daughter has been killed. If I can save one person's life through doing this, then my job is done. I would be so happy. If I can stop one drunk driver from getting into their car and driving home and possibly killing somebody and causing the devastation that happened to me and my family, I will be happy at that point. More than happy.